Okay. That's what we're going to talk about today. If anyone looks it up, it's near-death experience. I did die at one point, and I'm going to share my story. I'm a little out of breath and nervous because I know I'm going to post this online, and I've only shared it with family and really close friends. And there's been only a couple other instances where I told a random individual because I felt like it. So it's kind of sacred to me. It is. So, but I'm going to share it because I hope it brings some perspective to you. This is my experience. I'm not saying this is law. This is one thing with like any religion, I guess, is they may have had an experience and they will say it's law. After having my own personal experience, this is what I feel we do, all right? That's religion. And any kind of scholarly attempt to define what is God. Like, I feel like we try to contain in a box what is absolutely uncontainable. So that's first off my little bit of issue, as I had my own experience meeting God. I'm gonna get nervous. If I get emotional, I get emotional. It is what it is. I'm just letting it fly, okay? I'm more nervous as it is. I've only shared with family and very close friends, and then randomly, if I felt inspired to, random event, like random people, I mean. So, what happened? The date was 2021. I have a necklace and a bracelet, and it reminds me every time I look at it or put it on that today might be my last day, and to be grateful for today. That the biggest takeaway, one of the biggest takeaways from my experience, not the biggest, but one of the biggest, is that every breath is a little blessing, even if it's an overexcited or over anxious breath. And the fact that you can breathe is a gift, okay? So what happened? We were in the beautiful state of Hawaii, and I don't know how to spell Kauai. It's like K-A-U-A-I-I. I don't remember. We were there, and it was me and my ex, and we had planned out all kinds of activities, helicopter rides, whale watching, dolphin watching, and to this like beautiful waterfall that's for fertility and stuff like that. Scuba diving. Sorry, there's trauma in this for me. I'm literally so all right. So there's a lot of activities: canoeing, hiking to a waterfall, a lot of beach, just walking around, driving. And one, it's because it has to do with my ex. There was a whole lot going on there, and then two, what happened? So, freshly into the activities, the vacation. There was this beautiful place called I guess I'll say it, but it was Paradise Beach, I believe it was, or Peaceful Beach or something like that. It was gorgeous. I have a picture of it, and it was extremely peaceful. It was beautiful. Now we went during the high tides in November, and that's something I didn't know about that specific coast. During November, you're gonna get crashed on by waves a lot. You guys can already see where this is going. I am not a good swimmer. I am dense. Even in my fatness, obesity, my tarred, like lubby, gelatinous body, I still am dense. I have a lot of muscle on me, and I just never learned the skill. I did try multiple times. Shout out to my friends who would take me to, we had an apartment and we had an apartment pool, and he'd help me learn how to swim, and the Walrus King. Thank you, Walrus King. It was just very hard. I still panicked to put my head, around water when you're trying to float on your back. I learned how to doggy paddle somewhat, but I swim like this. So instead of my feet going like this to propel me this way, it doesn't really work well. So I was just playing in the water like a little kid, literally, because I don't trust it, right? So I'm splashing. Yay! And I love it. And I'm feeling more and more confident. It's beautiful, peaceful. One thing about the ocean, it can be so calm 1 second, and then the very next second, it will suck you in. And that's what happened. So I got a little bit more confident. I'm like on my knees to my waist-ish area. And I decide to play in that water. And then just a strong tide just comes from like this side and then just takes me. And I like barrel roll in the water and the sand and I stand up. And I realize I'm like hopping to stand up. I'm like, holy cow, this is, we're in too deep now. So, and I still, all right, so the water's not getting in my face, and I'm trying to swim, trying not to panic. And the ex is like, "Oh, you're in far." I'm like, "Yeah, come help. I'm starting to get a little scared." As you can hear in my out of breath, just reliving the experience. My body still kind of wants to go back there. And I guess I don't tell it enough. Holy cow, I'm still having like a little PTSD. And so I start, I'm like, my feet, if you can see my toesies. So here's the beach and my toesies. All right, my foot is like barely hanging on that cliff. And then it's who knows how deep. Like it was a cliff. It felt like a cliff to freaking Khazad-dûm. It was just like, it was death. And so my toes are like hanging on for dear life. They're clenching, and then poof, I just get swooped away by one last push of wave. Luckily, my ex comes in and she starts pushing from behind. And so the battle begins. So I start doing this, first I start doggy paddling. I'm just keeps getting pulled. She comes behind me, she's pushing me. So I start doing this with her push. Now the issue was every time I went like this, because I saw professional swimmers, breathe in for 2, hold it in for 2, and then whatever, like, right. It was something like that, right? I've seen YouTube barely. I never really researched it. I should have. And every time I went up, a wave crashes down. So I go, I go again. This happens 5 times. On the 5th time, I've drank a lot of seawater at this point, and I'm scared, and I'm panicking, and my body is shutting down. It's freaking out. It's realizing you're inhaling water, not air, and I can hold my breath if I'm calm for like a good amount, not long, 30 seconds to a minute. But I can hold it. I've held it for like a minute and 30 seconds. But that's me like in Zen, right? No breath, just, I was panicking at this point and, trying to get sips of air and water when the water's crashing down. And at that point, after that 5th one, I knew it was too late. And a voice came in my head and said, "You have 1 breath left." And he actually said, "This is your last breath." Now that could be in my own head, my own voice in my head. It could have been someone else. It did sound a little bit like it was not me. I don't know how to explain it. So with that last breath, and I was in the rhythm of catching the wave every time, but I just yelled for help, right? I just yell. And there's like people far off, like you can see like people laying down and stuff. And that was it. And at that point, my ex realized how intense it was. And the water came down, perfect timing again. And I knew that I've heard that in drowning experiences, if you're holding on, which I was, to the ex who knew how to swim well, not a super strong swimmer, but a good swimmer, that most people drown that person. So I was like, let go. I'm like, just let me go. And this happened between like breath 3 or 4. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna let you go. I'm like, let me go. And so at that point, she freaked out because I had called for help and I let go. And I don't remember. So this is the part where trauma is kind of weird. You remember a lot with a lot of intensity, and then it's like gaps, spaces. And I just remember like sinking into water, and it was like greenish blue. What I see is greenish blue, and it's just like light. And then the blue and green just slowly get darker, darker, and then black. All right, now I'm gonna take you on my journey. The amount of chaos, though, I gotta bring up at breath 4, 3, 4, 5 to my last breath was insane. How do I describe it? It's like You know, you panic a little bit when you lose your phone. You've lost your keys. You lost your wallet. That's a good one. Or your phone's unlocked and you lost it. It's a level of panic, right? That's like silly, I know. But what I'm trying to think of, like, oh my gosh. Or if you're a parent, you lost your kid in the middle of a market or outside in a huge parade. So it's like that level and then some. If you've ever been attacked by a dog, if you've ever been in a life or death situation where they have a knife to you or a gun, it's like closer to that. We're getting closer. Drowning is very weird because there's a level of security, and then as soon as it's gone, where you're like, it's just survival, you're frantic. So you're breathless, like I am right now, and you're trying to do everything in your physical body. Now, the thing I hate about water is I'm a physical guy. I love land. Like, you know, I love land. Like, and to be in water, there's nothing you can do. Nothing, like absolutely nothing. And so that sheer chaos, and when that realization hits, when you have one breath left, you can't do anything about it, and it's just doom. And you're also fearful of drowning the person that you love at the time. Woo! So that chaos ensues, and you're just panicking, like intense. Like I don't know how to put it in words. The level of chaos of like, F this, F everything, and I'm gonna die, and then boom, silence. That was quite the contrast alone. But then, that dark, I guess, it's like I'm looking through a window. I don't know how to explain it. Became a little bleep of light. And then started getting white, like grayish white all over. And then it started getting way white. And then I realized I'm flying above. So I'm seeing a third party perspective. Now, I want to let you guys know at this point, before I go further, I didn't get a good glimpse of this until after I'd allowed myself to kind of calm down. It was like nights, and I don't know, like I said, it's kind of patchy. It was nights or weeks after I was back at home, and I was going to go to bed, and I had these vivid memories. Now, so it doesn't feel like a dream, it feels like vivid memories. I've had trauma before myself. If you follow my channel, you already know. And it was so very, like, you remember a lot. But it was until after. I just find that funny. Like, I had spots of it during the nights. I'm like, oh my gosh. I saw, anyways, I'll go into it. All right, so I fly up, and this whiteness, and I'm looking at the sky. After I had looked down, saw my situation, and it was funny because it was like my body was like black. It was like soulless. I don't know how to explain it. It was like dimmed. And it was just like a shell. And the X had like whiteness still, like a soul. And that was it. And then I look up and I start flying towards the sky. The sky really quickly turned into stars. And those stars, I realized, started getting longer. So if you've ever seen Star Wars or anything like that, next thing I knew, it was just that. Like, if you're driving through a snowstorm, it was like light speed, I guess. And so I'm flying through and like the stars, right? And then there's just whiteness coming brighter and brighter. And this whiteness got like really white, like very uncomfortably bright. And I was like trying to look away, but I could somewhat handle it for some reason. But it was like brighter than the sun. If you've ever tried, don't try to look at the sun. It was something like that. And then like the stars stopped. So now I'm like in this white room, what looks like a white wall. And there's like galaxy-ish all around me, stars. And in that whiplash, I realized I'm kind of like a leaf. And my hands kind of go like this. So I kind of like, whoa. And I saw my hands for a fraction of a second. And I was translucent. I was clear white clear. But it looked like star galaxies. So I was galaxy looking. I don't know how to, this sounds crazy. I know, but if I could outline myself, right? This is what I felt I was, right? I mean, obviously I had fingers. I'm not an artist, calm down. If I wanted to take the time, I could. But I knew at that point that my body was, I don't know how to say it, like the solar system. It was like stars. And I was like translucent. And I knew it was different than the white screen before my eyes. So I was star material, if that makes sense. an outline appeared before me, a taller, wider outline, and it was a man's outline. The voice was manly, right? And it was just so bright that I couldn't make out who it was or what it looked like, but I knew who it was. Now, interesting point to point out, I wasn't living a really good life compared to some awesome life, right? But I knew, like, as far as like the type of life I've lived before when it comes to being a religious, spiritual background, there's two different things there, religious and spiritual. And I realized I wasn't being so religious. And so according to the religious part, I actually thought I was going to hell because I wasn't in good standings with my church and religion and the steps and everything it has there. And spiritually, I was kind of bleh. So I wasn't good in both spots, but I thought I was going to hell. So when I had that perspective from the top down, here's the ocean, here's the person trying to push me, the X, and then my body. I don't remember it. It was just like dark though. It was like, I looked dark and there was like light there. And I was like up here. And I was being flung this way. I was like, wee, going that way, right? But when I looked down there, like, yeah, I thought I would be going down there. So when I got redirected up to look up and think, I was like, oh, we're not going to hell. We did it, boys. Like, I was confused, to be honest. And during this part, as I'm going upwards, this feeling that like kind of surrounded me, one of the closest way I can think of it is if you've ever entered like a super hot jacuzzi. The way I described it the first time was it felt like you pee yourself. I don't know why. That just came to my mind at that moment. But I don't know how else to describe it. It's like you were overwhelmed with like a jacuzzi, like as if you've fallen into a jacuzzi completely submersed. And it felt so warm, so nice. And going from the chaos that was ensuing down here of like fighting for your literal life. And it was so funny. At the point, I've always like wondered, do I even want to live? I wanted to live, baby. Like I fought for, I was making pacts with God, promises. Oh my God, if you let me live, I swear I'm going to get straight. I'm going to get good with you, man. And I like, you know, what you do when you're in desperate, but it was like milliseconds. I was like, God, you got to save me. Like, I want to live. I want to live. I wasn't happy in my life. Not truly at all. And I thought I was going to go to hell. So when I get encountered with this, the stars in the background, I am stars. But there's stars around him. I couldn't see past him. And he said, welcome back. Welcome home. Son. And so it was the swap of thinking I was going to hell to feeling this overwhelming joy. And with that joy, like beyond, I've never, ever felt, and I have loving parents, I have loving friends and family, I've never felt that amount of love. Never will I ever. I don't believe it's unearthly. So to know that that's there on the other side of this hop, this bridge is wild. It's actually very exciting. And with excitement, when I was flying up to this, you know, like I said, it felt like a portal, like it felt like light speed, right? And I was just like a little person in between going to this bright dot. And I was just traveling that way super fast. I felt amount of love that is, I can't put it in dang words. That's what pisses me off. Oh, it's so limited here. And then also, I don't know how else to put it, but like giddy excitement. Hopefully that's spelled out right. I'm not really caring. I actually thought I was, if you own a dog is really good at displaying this. I never grew up with cats or anything like that, but dogs are like, if you were away for 5 minutes, let alone 2 hours, it's like they've never seen you before. Like, oh my gosh, where have you been? I felt that kind of level of giddy excitement when I met him. That being the source. It was like, I've been dying to see you. And so it was weird because I thought and beautiful because I thought I was going to run into my dog that I died growing up as a kid. I'm like, oh my gosh, my dog. He was a little West Highland White Terrier, and he loved me for some reason, and I loved him. And I thought I was going to see my dog. And then boom, I run to like that was the level of excitement. And then he's like, welcome home, son. I was like, you want me back? You love me? What are you? Like so many questions. And excitement at the same time, because that love, like it was as if like it was shared. So I was able to like know the love, and so it was a little too much, overpowering, emotional. And so what happened at that point? We watched a movie. So yeah, this is weird. I don't know why this happens a lot in near-death experiences. But so I hear it happens. And this video ensued and plays. I don't know why I like that word right now. All right, this video started to play. And it was weird because he's here. I'm calling him a he, right? This is coming from my religious background. You guys can say whatever, call him whatever you want. It, source, she, I don't know, I've heard it all, right? I'm calling him a he because I heard his voice. And maybe that was my mind saying, this is the best way you'll make sense of it. I don't know. Because you were taught this growing up, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I could sense he was bigger. And I don't know why. And then this, from this side into this side comes almost like a movie. And it was just like playing. And we could see this movie together. And he'd kind of point out, he's like, hey, what about, I don't know what I'm doing there, but he's like, hey. And I was like, oh, like not that one. But for the most part, except for like, I remember like one or two. It was very intimate moments he showed me. Like very intimate. I'm like, dude, man, you were there watching? Like, what the heck? Why are you bringing this up? It was a sex, right? Like very intimate sex moments. Beautiful moments. So this video, all it had, this is why I know what is truly important is I'm going to say loved ones for friends, right? Family, friends, memories, moments, experiences. That is all I saw. Like if this was moving fast. Also, time did not make sense because we saw them all one by one, and then it was as if it zoomed out and it was like, the movie was over, the video disappeared. This is back to the stars in the background. But it was literally spending time with family, friends. It was wonderful. And like no matter what, it was like it had to do with people. It had to do with, remember that one time you helped that person? Remember that one time your family did this? Remember that one memory in Newport Beach, the beach house, and the family got together, we played, like that was one of the strongest memories. Newport Beach, we rented out a beach house. I'm not rich, calm down guys. And the family did. And the whole family was there. And like nieces, nephews, we even brought my dog at the time. And that was one of the strongest memories. And they were like, there was shines, like brightness to them. And it meant something. I don't know what that means, but I just know it was the brighter, the more important it was. Birth was there. Like I said, it was very interesting. It was just like an overview. It was just moments, beautiful moments, and the intimate moments were in them. I didn't like it. That's why I put X's, because it was very intimate, but it didn't feel awkward, which was kind of cool. I felt a little bit of like, whoa, like exposed maybe, but it was beautiful because I'm like, yeah, that did happen, and I loved it. Like it was first night with my wife, my ex, and another intimate moment, my first time having sex. And he's like, I was there, which sounds off, but it was beautiful. It was truly beautiful. This is why I think also sex is it's a little bit more special than we make it out to be. We're getting handed out left and right. But if he's freaking watching, he's there. He's like, that's important, bro. I don't know, maybe it means something. So we watched this movie, and just like that, this beautiful, like, imagine all these emotions, and it's pretty much saying like, this is what's important, and this is what's gonna stay with you. And just like that, the video is over. Right? The video is over. And I about face to him. And we weren't talking. Like, although I could see an outline of his face, like, he wasn't using his mouth. So we were talking with our mind, which was interesting. And it was just, it was pure love. Like, I don't have kids. The closest thing I can think of is how a parent must feel to their kids when they, it's those moments where they cherish them. They like realize that they have a kid now and that they love that kid more than anything on earth. That's what it felt like. Like, and like I said, I don't have a kid, but I literally felt like a parent, even though I've never known what it felt like to be a parent, except because we were connected. Like, it's as if there was an umbilical cord between us. I don't know how to make sense of that, but it was like heart to heart, like connection. I don't know, because his whiteness was spreading to my whiteness. Oh, I wish I could make sense of this. Remember, I'm a translucent kind of star guy. He was pure whiteness. But the more I stayed with him, the more white I got. I don't know how to explain that. It was just brightness. Maybe not whiteness is not the right word. It was like whole completeness. I don't know. Anyways. And within all that love, he says, I can't have you here yet. And I so badly want to go because I could feel there was other people waiting for me, and there was like excitement and joy. And I'm like, what about the others? And I didn't know, like, I didn't see them, but I knew the people who had visited me. All right, I have a lot of spiritual experiences, weird ones, not weird really, but like I've had, people visit me from the dead, and they died, and shortly after in their anniversary, they visit me, or I visit, and it's only happened a couple times. Don't go crazy, but I've had experiences with spirits and angels and demons, and that's kind of why I want to post this, because if you've had this too and you feel crazy, you're not alone. I know there's people out there. There's mediums. I don't consider myself a medium at all. I consider myself attuned and connected to what's out there. I'm nothing special. I do recognize everyone has different gifts, but I do believe everyone can have these same gifts. Some people are born just with, you have people who are like mathematicians. Like, yeah, it just makes sense, right? You have people who are born just athletic sport freaks. And then you have people who, for some reason can see and talk to spirits randomly for some reason. And it's just random. Like I can't monetize this gift at all. Like I can't, like the sports guy's gonna be a millionaire. Mathematician's gonna be a CFO. Like, I'm like, hey God, what the freak? I feel crazy. That's all. It got me crazy. All right. Anyways, so he says I can't stay and that I have to go back to experience more. And it was weird because out of all that joy, then he's like, if there was a feeling of huge disappointment, which was hard because out of all that beautiful feeling, it was all of a sudden disappointment. He's like, you could have done so much more. And I remember saying dad to him too, by the way. And that feeling of like regret hit me. And then it was as if it like played the videos backwards, like reversing. And there was like regret in the videos this time. Because it's like, what are you, like you're wasting this. And then it was as if it was like the tape was rewinding. And he's like, you have to go. And I'm like, I don't want to go. Like heck no. There's no pain here. There's no anxiety here. There's no depression here. Things I struggled heavily with at the time. There's no trauma here. It was perfect. It was literally, I'm like, if people knew this is dangerous, people would be offing themselves left and right. Like, and I'm not, do not do that, because there's a whole story in that. One of my best friends killed himself. The people that visited me was my best friend, and he killed himself. So I'm going to share with you that. Do not kill yourself. There's a different pathway. There's something else that happens at that point. And this is just my experience. Like, I'm not telling you this is Bible. I'm no pastor, priest. This is what I saw. This is my lifetime experiences. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, and I don't know why, and I'm just now sharing it. So we say our goodbye, and I'm getting emotional because I don't want to go. And something I forgot, and in regression style therapy, I remembered that he's like, you have to go through more pain still. You're not done hurting. Ooh. And like that kind of faced me back this way, and then that Star Wars, I'm flying. It's slow stars. I can see the stars pretty well, and then they start becoming lines. So I know I'm going fast, and then this whiteness is like heat, that warmth, that love is getting cold again. And then just like that, I see the beach, the ocean, and I'm back in terrible earth. I shouldn't be disappointed, but it sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I did Reiki work afterwards with some lady I called a witch. I'm like, you witch? Because she knew stuff. She's like, hey, I didn't tell her about my stuff. And she's like, your soul doesn't want to be here. She's like, and in fact, it belongs somewhere else. It's been somewhere else. She's like, have you died? And I'm like, oh, shoot, she's a witch. That's all. I'm like, that's so cool. Yeah, she could sense that there was a complete detachment. And I was dying to go back to source. Whoever he is, he was, at that moment, I knew that we are the same. We are made from the same material. The same material he made everything around me with, we are made from that. And that I am part of him and he's part of me. And that goes for all of us. Now, I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know what to make of that truly, even though scholarly, biblically, I know, I can go that route. I don't want to lose people who don't not read the Bible, the Torah. I don't want to box him in. It's silly. In that moment, I realized, how dare we? How dare we box God in? It was so much. He is so big. That Omega word, I think, is the closest thing on earth that we could picture. It was Omega. So there was scoffing afterwards when I was remembering this experience, just immediately after. And I was like, how dare we? I was like, how dare we put him in? You must do this. He is so much bigger than that. He's so much bigger. But at the same time, there has to be a level don't go screw up your soul. Don't go crazy, because the soul is very weak. I was taught there that the soul is fragile. The soul is very fragile, and we are like a leaf. Have you ever tried to handle a leaf poorly, semi-roughly? In fact, if you don't water that leaf, it's dried. So when we don't water our soul, it's easy to crumble. And if it's watered, it's bendable, it's pliable, but it's still terrible. And that, he was trying to teach me that, you're no better than this leaf. And he told me that this body is a casket, but to respect it. I'm obese at the time, by the way. I'm 80 pounds plus heavier than this. So ulcers, immune issues, anxiety, depression, pre-diabetic, fatty liver, Hashimoto's, I need T3, right? Thyroid disease, name it all. I was a mess. And he told me, respect the leaf, essentially, right? And respect even more so. In doing so, you have to respect the shell. Which the shell for me was, he also, even though he said it was a shell, for me, the word translated to casket. It's just a frame. We are contained, that galaxy, we are galaxy, we're stuck in this very flimsy, materialistic, just flesh. This weak sack of blood and skin. And so we're so much more. I just don't know how to portray that and say that with enough conviction. And I don't know what to do with that, really. Because it's you come home, it's not you can move chair, use the forces of even though we're connected to it all, there's a disconnection. All right, we're going too deep in the weeds there. This is all for other videos, I'm sure. That's my near-death experience. I come back, they had resuscitated me on the beach. Paramedics were there. What had happened was a beach ongoer who was sleeping on the beach, a local. He had heard my last cry. He swam out. He's a really good swimmer, saving me and the ex, who was also at that point struggling. She couldn't get back. And I came to at the beach. So I don't remember anything in between that. But I'm guessing, I was a bigger guy and heavier. And so, it was, thank you. He hates locals. He's like, stupid. Wait, that's Australian. What the frick? Anyways, he was just like, probably like, tourist. I remember the EMTs. I remember there was a lady, there was a few people there. I don't know why the ladies were there. See, this is where I don't want to talk to the ex at all. But I don't remember why these girls were there. I remember they showered me. This sounds weird. They had an outside shower. And this is spotty, but I remember walking with an oxygen thing, like a mask. Someone was holding a tank. We were like walking up this forest. We went to their place or something. And I was outside showering because I guess I still had sand on me. I don't know why I was showering, but like clothes on, right? I remember she had BO. She was from Oregon, Washington, and she was an au naturel. She had armpit hair. And I remember hugging her. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry I stink. She's like, oh, well, it's probably me. I'm like, oh. And there was like an awkward exchange there. But I remember loving those ladies. I don't know if there was a guy with them, but I just remember like 2 or 3 ladies. Like, absolutely love them. And I don't know why, besides they offered a shower. And I remember walking up like jungle train with them. But I just remember loving them. I'm like, you're lifesavers. So I don't know what they did. I don't know to this day. I knew I was supposed to write them. I got their names. I'm pretty sure I did write them on email, like Facebook or something. I just don't know. Like, I don't know the full story. I should try to find those emails, messaging. Anyways, that's what I know. It's like very spotty. I remember sitting at the back of the ambulance. They were seeing if I could need to go into the hospital. And I'm like, I'm fine. Because I really felt like I'm back. Like, damn. Sorry. Like, dang it. Like, I know I'm supposed to be back. Like, this sucks. I'm back in this body. Like, remember, 80 pounds plus heavier and all the issues again. Anxiety, depression. You felt so restrained and, it felt heavy. It just felt heavy. And not like physically. Like, it just felt heavy and murky and dark. And even though it was a beautiful moment because these women had offered me like the backyard hose, pretty much like outside shower, and I'm pretty sure there was food and water. I don't know, but all I knew is at the back of the ambulance, they said, you can't sleep for the next 24 hours, I think it was, or 48. It's called dry drowning. Look it up. If you've drowned, you've had so much salt in your lungs and water that you can die again if you fall asleep. So I couldn't fall asleep. And then I just remember showering, and the first time the shower like came down on my face, I like freaked. I like almost cried. I can't remember if I cried. I just remember screaming. Because water was on my face. Oh, so yes, I had to work through all that PTSD of being able to shower again because showering is kind of important. And I still had a sex drive, which was interesting to know. I just want to point this out because remember we're on vacation, and I knew it was the beginning of the vacation. I knew we had to make the best of it, and I'm learning. My background's in psychology. I've always researched it. I'm always a constant student of psychology. I'm like exposure therapy. So we went snorkeling the next day, and I almost blacked out. Yes, I had all the flotation devices they had on me, and I looked like a foolish kid. But I did get in the water, and I put my face in the water, and I almost panicked. Even they asked me, like, "Are you okay?" Because I was super pale, I guess. But I did it, and I knew exposure therapy does work. So I then went canoeing the next time. I tried things to like still get me like I got to get over this. I can't be afraid of water always. So am I afraid of oceans? Yes. Am I afraid of water? No. So I got better, and I'm working on it. I will learn how to swim even better one day, I'm sure. So yeah, that was my experience, and I'm not telling you it's law. I'm not telling you it's 100% sure. It's for sure what's going to happen to you if you die. This is just my experience, and afterwards, a few months after, I started researching. I wonder what other people's experiences are because this is my experience, and there's some similarities. The movie review, the third-party astral projection, the feeling of love, coming home. Some people go through hell before going to heaven. I don't know. Like I've met a lot of hell on earth, and so I'm glad I didn't have to go through that because I've had to deal with it a lot. And I said, I have evil spirit stories, and I will be sharing those. Maybe in the daytime, maybe not. I don't know. I will be sharing the angelic stories as well. I'll also share the visitation stories, and I'll share just the stories that I feel are maybe of help and importance, but I can't make sense of it. Anyone that says, oh, for sure it's this, because after meeting the all-encompassing God, that is like huge, there's everything, he's too big. He's too big to put in the word even God. And it's funny how that's like a simple word, and it's a 3-letter word, we put him in, but he's so much more than that. It's weird, it's hard to put in words, but it's beautiful, it's wonderful. And it's something that at the end of this, I knew he just wanted, this is another thing he said, like, just reach out to me. I just want communication. And talk to me. Talk to me. That's what he said. So how do you talk to him? So whatever. I choose prayer and meditation. 2 different things, 2 different formats. It's like talking in your head, saying, and I do say Dad. I'm like, hey Dad, I love you. And just kind of vent. I just kind of say, hey, this is today. I'm feeling a little horny. I'm feeling a little whatever, like, I'll just talk to him. Because now there's a personal relationship. I always knew there kind of was, but I doubted it so many times. I still do. I'm not saying it's perfect. You being here so long, like, you lose that connection. Like, I was like, connection, like Ethernet cable straight to the source. So it was like, it was too much. It was a lot. And that's why I didn't want to disconnect that. But I knew I had to disconnect in order to be sent back. And time doesn't make sense there, and space doesn't make sense there either. It's like everything's happening at once and all together at the same time, and not at the same time. It's happening fast yet very slow at the same time. I can't make sense of it. My human brain doesn't. I've tried to like make sense of it, and I can't. I don't think we're supposed to. I think the closest thing to is like quantum mechanics and quantum physics. But even then, it just doesn't make sense being in like the 4D, 10D, all that. But it feels like it's that. I feel like that's the closest science to God science. So we're trying to make sense of God science, which is like just the way Source lives. So God is in you, and you are in God. Source, whatever you want to call it. And it wants you to be happy. Pure. Not like happy, just like that fleeting happiness. You take a hit, get a little drunk, have sex. I mean like joy. Long-lasting experiences. And with it must be pain. So if you're in a moment of you're feeling a lot of pain, it's because you're on this scale, right? And you must feel this pain in order to eventually feel this joy. And to really feel it to the full amount, if this is like all the way down, this will go all the way up, for sure. It's just a matter of time. And I believe it's like a, whatever this is, seesaw? I don't know what it is. I think that's what life is. So you're in seasons of pain, seasons of joy. But knowing every time that if you're in pain, there must be, there will be, there is joy. And when you're in joy, there must be, there will be, there is pain. So learning life is, I feel like I'm learning life again, but it's essentially learning this again. And how to be overall in the now and in, as best you can, joy, while you shift through both in all reality. So it's strange. That is my little message. It's not little anymore, it's long. I just feel, I'm not going to edit this. I just, that's my experience. I haven't even, I tried to find recordings of it. I just wrote it down, but I didn't record a voice. I thought I did. That is my experience. I do believe there's a God. I know there's a God. And I say no now very carefully. Like, I know, but I don't, right? Like, what if my brain, I looked into the whole, because of the psychology background, I was like, well, my pineal gland released a whole bunch of DMT naturally, stored in there, and then therefore causing a dreamlike state, that therefore cause a very hallucinogenic effect, and blah, blah, blah. No. All that science crap, which is not crap, it helps. But it was crap to God science. He's like, out the way. There's no. So I can't say, like, I don't want to say I know God, but I do I have to. I must. I believe there's a God. I believe there's a higher source. There's a higher being. Why does he allow evil things to happen to good people? Innocent? I don't know. In the scale of joy and pain, I don't know the reasoning, because I'm like, you're a pretty sadistic God. I had that conversation with him. My dad, you're either a sick, sadistic man, being, source, all-knowing supposedly, but then you allow this to happen. Believe me, I've had all the fights and quarrels that you guys have had probably yourselves, and yet knowing it was pure mercy and grace when I went up there. Like, I thought I was going to be burning with Satan himself and all his pals, Cain, Baphomet, who knows, right? I'm like, dude, I'm going to be tortured and eaten alive. And no, like pure mercy and grace. And I wasn't even living that evilly. I just wasn't, like I said, religion-wise, I wasn't living the best way. Spiritually-wise, I was like, I'm not going to feed that plant. And he cares about the you, and he wants to nourish the you. Remember that leaf analogy he kind of shared with me is water that leaf. And in so doing, once you've watered your own leaf, you're able to water the leaves of others. There's more to life. I just don't understand it. There's way more to life. I know that we're stuck in these physical things that we need to take care of. We must take care of it. It was like a commandment. Like no, change. And what's sad? The reality of all this, it took years, even after such a powerful experience, for me to change. That's how stubborn the human soul is. And I say that like as if it's like a different part. I believe there's the body, there's the spirit, and then there's like the soul. The soul is pure. The spirit, we kind of have our own. My soul's, I have perverted jokes. I'm horny. It's kind of tainted-ish. And it communes or speaks. It gets on the same frequency as the soul, which is tied to source or God. So there's like three things in my perspective now. I don't ever want to try to tie God or source into a box again. At the same time, I recognize how helpful it is for us puny humans here on earth. How we're nothing, absolutely nothing. And at the same time, we're everything. Oh, it just killed my brain. But that's the truth. We're nothing. Insignificantly the most significant things on earth and in heaven and on space and time beyond. It just doesn't make sense. And if anything, I probably confused you more. But that is my truth. That is what I've experienced. I know what I've experienced because I feel like all along my life, it's kind of led up to that moment. It was a pivotal moment for me to reconnect with God. And that's the moment I started doubling down in the best way I knew. So I started becoming more religious again and more spiritual again. Because I don't know what's the best way to commune, but I know both ways help. They help your soul speak again. And it's not quite the Ethernet cable connection. It's kind of like Wi-Fi. It's kind of spotty if you're Wi-Fi like in Europe or something. It's like, it's a back and forth, on and off. But I'll take it. It's not the freaking headset stuck in my earpiece. Yo, God, what do? Take a left. All right, take a right. You know, it's not that anymore. It's more like I said, old cell phone that's terrible and connection, but you hear like every other word maybe. Every 5-10 words. But I'll take it. It's all we got. And I know that doing churchy stuff and doing spiritual stuff while being a human completely, I'm not perfect. I'm just as messed up as all you guys. But it still allows the level of communication because in the end, he knows how messed up we are and he still wants us back. He wants so badly to say, welcome back, daughter. Welcome back, son. And he's saying that. And he just says, just talk to me a little. Talk to me a little so you can feel that. And I think we can, in that case, also feel some of that giddy excitement that he has for us. And says, just keep going. I know you're lost. I know you're in pain and suffering, oblivious to whatever, to purpose, whatever it may be, but keep going. And we're like, where is going? That's the question. He's like, but keep going. It's not a linear thing for God. All right. That's my experience. That's all I'll share right now. Like I said, I will share about the angels and demons later on. Yes, I've experienced both. And the spirits in between, I don't know what else to call them. They're like the in-between things. And I think it's time to share this stuff. I think it's, I've kept it long enough within the family, and I may look crazy, and I'm gonna get judged regardless. I'm judged regardless. I'm not a perfect human. I'm just like you guys. We just have different things in our lives. Some people are born with 2 siblings or none. Some people are born with 10 siblings. It's just kind of something like that. You're born with different proclivities to talents and skills, and for some reason he left that antenna on for me. I don't know why, and it's kind of a curse and a blessing depending on how I see it. And I hope to turn that curse into a blessing, because he told me to do that, because I view it as a curse and only handy in special emergencies, which I couldn't even pick. They just happen. And yeah, anyways, I'll go into them, and hope you guys enjoyed. And here's another day of posting and being as authentic as possible.